Hello guys, my name is Drake from DV Games, and this is the Overlord Kilo.
Hey, what's up?
Alright, so I guess we're doing a Battlefield thing.
Oh, wow.
Discussion. Thing.
Yeah, it's not just some random gameplay video this time. And of course, literally the second I start recording, my brother raises his voice. What a twat. Alright, so I sort of saw this video called What We Want to See from Elder Scrolls 6. There's a few of these. And I said, well, Battlefield is not totally sucking right now. But
Not yet.
not yet. Maybe it has.
Almost.
That's a matter of discussion. But there's most certainly going to be future Battlefield games. It's undeniable at this point that there will be more Battlefield games. With that said, I decided, why not make a video discussing what I'd like to see in the next Battlefield game. But then I also thought, well, no, I have my friend here, Drake, who also has a YouTube channel. We can do a collab. We can pool our ideas, if you will, into what we'd like to see. What we like, what we don't like, what we want to see, what we don't want to see. Our speculations and all that good stuff. And last time we tried recording this, it didn't work out so well. And, yeah. So,
it was fine. It was just an hour and a half long.
it was just like, it was just like 80 minutes long. No big deal, right? Yeah, we're going to try and keep this one shorter. And also, we're having some audio problems, but we have sorted those out, hopefully.
Hopefully.
So, I've got sort of the three main... Nice. Sorry, we have a Google Docs open. So I got three main sections. Well, the first one is kind of short. So, Battlefield, next games, speculation mostly. Campaign, what we'd like to see. What are you doing, Drake? And multiplayer. Because those are the main parts of Battlefield, the campaign, the multiplayer, obviously. So, for the next games, if you'd like to lead us off, Drake, on your and my speculation, you are in.
Okay, so there's three lines that come out of Battlefield. You got the Battlefield series, 1, 2, 3, 4. You got Bad Company, Battlefield Bad Company 1, Bad Company 2. And there's like Vietnam, that kind of like weird pseudo DLC, kind of its own game.
Hardline.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. There's Hardline for you. I mean, Hardline.
So what do you mean Hardline? Where did Hardline come into this?
I don't know. Anyways, and also the 2143. Who doesn't want futuristic robots beating the shit out of each other? Anyways.
Well, what do you think Titanfall is?
Yeah. So we're looking at the next 2143, Bad Company 3, Battlefield 5, some the next in the line, or maybe EA could just say, whatever, we'll throw in a new line. So
Battlefield Modern Warfare, Battlefield Black Modern Warfare Ghosts.
Might as well.
Anyways, yeah. So
campaign.
There's been two prior. Battlefield Bad Companies, Bad Company 1 and Bad Company 2 respectively. And it's kind of weird because there's Battlefield 2 and then 3 and then 4. So next would be 5, but the first Battlefield game was 1942 and then there was 1943. So it's kind of iffy. So while there's only been one prior Battlefield 2140 series game, like 2142 is the first one, because of the reason that there's 2143 written literally everywhere in the Battlefield, in the multiplayer, possibly campaign 2, I haven't looked. I'm not
gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna interject something here. Not gonna lie. I never, I jumped in at Battlefield Bad Company 2. I played Battlefield 3. I played 4. I played a little bit of Hardline. I always thought it was 2143. I thought 2143 was that series, not 2142.
Yeah, whatever that means. I don't exactly know what you were saying there.
2143 is around so much that I hadn't known. So I thought 2143 was that game. I didn't know it was 2142. till just now.
Wait, there was 2143 written in BC2 and BF3?
Yeah, like
I didn't notice
you know,
that. I didn't know that. Oh, well, you learn something new every day. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, it's been written, and it's been a really long time since 2142. I've played it a little bit. I don't own it. I came into the Battlefield scene after moving from console and Call of Duty, and then I got a PC. I got Battlefield. I sort of did the master race conversion, I guess you can call it, the full-on conversion. And I've played quite a few of the Battlefield games, but I only own 1942 and BF3 and BF4. So I mean I'm by no means a veteran of this game, but I have played it for almost 2 years now, I'd like to say. And I like it. I mean, I like it better than Call of Duty for sure. But that's just where my speculation with 2143 goes. Bad Company 3, well, that's kind of obvious. I mean, the sort of thing is with Bad Company 1, it sort of ended, but then it sort of started off again. And then Bad Company 2 came around, and then it sort of ended. But then they can always just say, oh, well, we need you again, guys, for whatever reason. You know, because everyone loves an underdog. And then Battlefield 5, because I don't know the story of BF2, but I know that BF3 ended, and then sort of there was some time between it, and then Battlefield 4 came around, but it sort of ended. But then again, there's always room for political strife, warfare, and all that good stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, anyone could have really guessed that those are the next 3 games in that order. I don't know. However, it is possible. It is realistic. It is feasible. Anything to add, Drake?
No.
Yeah?
So let's move on to campaign.
Yes. So if you'd like to lead us off.
All right.
Sir. Ladies first.
Campaign, main points we've got down. Don't kill the main characters. I have it in Battlefield 3, and spoiler alert, eventually in Battlefield 4.
I think it doesn't matter for a spoiler alert. The game's been out for almost 2 years now.
Yeah, but yeah.
No, almost a year and a half. I don't know.
Anyways, you guys, come on. Don't kill the main characters. I mean, it's simple. You get attached to them if it's a good storyline, and then you get pissed off when they're dead, and you're like, no.
I remember when Cameron told me, because he didn't finish the game, and he's like, Pac dies. I got so mad because I'd only begun it, and I got mad. I was like, no. Then the next day, and I played through it a little bit, but I got to that point, but I didn't know that he's actually still alive. He comes back, he's like, no, just kidding, Pac doesn't die, and I was like, fuck off, whatever. But
Alright,
that's just my gripe with it. But yeah, don't kill main characters. It's, I mean, yeah,
so next thing,
yeah, just don't.
The big thing is actually co-op campaign. We know Battlefield 3 had its own co-op system.
It was more like
it was kind of its own missions.
Yeah, it was like the Spec Ops missions from
like
Call
actually
of Duty.
being able to play with other people. Say like, you know, if you like a Borderlands 2, you play with other people. It scales up difficulty. It's more fun. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Reappearances. This also kind of jumps into story tie-ins. Reappearance of say Blackburn, Wrecker, Marlowe. You know, all of them from the previous series or games. Seeing, you know, trying to get the story to go together. You know,
I think
it's
it
always
can be
fun.
done.
It's always fun to see random cliffhanger that leads into a wild turn that's just like, oh my god, they just tied up like 50,000 loopholes in one fell swoop.
A literal cliffhanger. Just because this. BF4.
Yeah.
Because you're hanging
literally
from the
this
tram.
Came over here.
Spoilers. Whatever.
Customizable weapons and loadouts for the campaign. Battlefield or the not Battlefield, multiplayer has this. It's great, but sometimes you get really screwed over in the campaign. I remember in 4 there was a few times where I was like, "Oh yeah, I can use this gun for like the entire campaign because it's so good," and they're like, "Nope."
No, you can't because the attachments suck.
Yeah. Increased campaign runtime. I'm pretty sure anybody that's any good at first-person shooters was able to fly through Battlefield 4.
Yeah, at least if it's not on the first run through, you could easily on the first run through. I completed the Battlefield campaign in about 5, 6 hours. If I wanted to, I could probably get through it in 3 or 4. Because I've already played it. That's true, but
Yeah.
There's so
without deaths, it's probably one of the shortest campaigns I've played.
Yeah, like Hardline has about a 5-hour runtime on the average person's first run through, but there's about an hour, if not more, of cutscenes and clips and stuff. So, I mean, even if they have to do a little bit to keep the game padded or add a mission that does feel slightly repetitive from another one, from another game, another series, or another mission, I'd rather have that than just say, get it done in one sitting. I mean, It's a long sitting, but it's still a sitting.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and skip that because we already went over it. Story tie-ins, blah, blah, blah. Better storyboarding / better story in general. Yeah. Battlefield 4. Now, mind you, I haven't played Hardline campaign, so I can't campaign. But that's also visceral. That's not DICE. We'll set that aside. Better story in general. Battlefield 4 was enjoyable. But the meat of the campaign was kind of rough around the edges. Now we can chalk that up to EA rushing the game out too fast.
I'd rather blame EA just because I don't like EA, and it makes me feel better to know that it's possibly just EA rushing them and it's not the Overlord DICE plus,
Yeah. And longer campaign, we already discussed that. Actual campaign series with continued / related story characters. That kind of runs with reappearances and tie-ins. And what we mean by that is like an actual full-on series where they go, the Battlefield 2 to Battlefield 3. There's no real relation there in between. Battlefield 3 to Battlefield 4. There's some time in between. I think there's a mention of one character that's there.
Dima and Kovac transfer over.
That's it.
They both die, though. I mean...
The typical Russian bad guy, though.
Dima was looked at as a bad guy by, like, Kovac and whatever the other bald dudes what. But that's just because it was their job, and he's another country, and they didn't have all the facts. But in reality, he was a good guy, and he had good intentions, and he got caught up with the wrong things. I mean, it happens, but then Kovac just died because he fell off of a ladder.
But when you look at it, though, I mean, you've got games out there like Halo, which is
Halo and Call of Duty, the Modern Warfare series at the very least.
Yeah.
And sort of Black Ops, like I know Black Ops 1 and COD 5 sort of tie in with Reznov. And the other guy, the one you play as in COD 5, I know he's there in Black Ops 2 as well. But that's not it's sort of a different type thing. I can't explain it just because I don't have the words for it. But yeah, definitely. It would be nice. But then again, it is sort of refreshing to see new characters. It's sort of, you got to find the balance, right? And that
there has to be good characters in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, with BF3, I felt that the character development was more on you as Blackburn, even though the whole storyboard kind of ripped off Black Ops 1. It's still, you did find out about Blackburn. You found out about Blackburn, about his intentions, his motives, his reasoning, and all that, and just getting him sassing the CIA. It's kind of funny, but whereas BF4, it sort of feels like you get character development, not so much with Pac, or especially not with Dunn, but with Hannah and Irish. There is a lot of character development there, and plot twists too, of course, but you definitely learn a lot about Irish and a lot about Hannah's past while playing the campaign. But with that said, I'd say that BF3's and BF4's character development is in every way, shape, and form infinitely better than Titanfall's character development, because technically speaking, there is no character. I mean, there's the pilots, but the pilots as a whole can be seen as a character, but they're not. They're individual people, and you're just a faceless pilot. And I mean, in the real world, as unfortunate as it is, you're just another soldier, right? Maybe you're a spec ops, maybe you're famous for one thing or another. Um, but yeah, I mean, most of the time you're just an asset, really. And so while Titanfall definitely got the idea of the you're an asset, you are a person, it's your job, you are expected, whatever, this, that, it, there still doesn't, it still made them feel like not even human. Like, I might as well have just been another Spectre, I might as well have been another Titan, whatever. But I think that even if you don't tie in the stories completely, like the way um, BF3 and BF4 did it was not. I mean, it could have been better. It made sense. It certainly made sense, but it could have done better. Been done better. And Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3, the way they did it was superb, as well as Halo 1, 2, 3, Reach, uh, any of the other ODST, sort of a little bit, but um, don't kill main characters.
We already went.
Yeah, we already talked about that. Don't do it. I was so mad when I had to pick between Hannah and Irish, but I picked Hannah because Irish has a family, and Hannah's was already dead, so it didn't matter. And she'll probably survive by some magic. I don't know. Co-op campaign, like, also with co-op campaign, don't do the Titan. Like, I know I keep referencing Titanfall because it's a bit of a recent release. It came out a year ago, or just over a year ago now. I mean, the idea of the multiplayer campaign was awesome, but it does not replace a proper. Okay, Drake, I see it. Damn right, sorry, cats. No, I'm giving you my opinion, Drake. Stop. It's it's not. You can't replace a proper single player or a single slash co-op campaign with that. It was rushed, honestly. Reappearances would be cool, or I mean, probably not possible, but to see characters from other games, like if I saw Captain Price in a Battlefield game, I know there would be so many people flaming about this, like, that's a stupid idea. But I think, in my opinion, it would be pretty cool. Longer campaign, actual campaign series.
Battlefield needs a Captain Price.
I
Not
mean,
the, but a.
That's sort of Sarge from Bad Company. He's sort of that. He's like the experienced old guy. Although they also have the whole sense of he just wants to go home. It's always his last mission until the next one comes up. But yeah, I feel you. We definitely need a Price, or it would be cool to see the actual Captain Price. Just because I like Battlefield more, but I'm still a fan of the Call of Duty series or the Modern Warfare series, even if it is kind of copying itself. Alright, now we get to the best part, the bread and butter of Battlefield, if you will. That alliteration was on point. Multiplayer. So I'll lead us through, and then we can go back through it one by one. Upgradable jet types, I'll get to that. Swappable vehicle types, I'll get to that. Choosable ammo, super or subsonic ammos. Customizable characters, there's a bit of an asterisk on that. Swap carbines with PDWs, restrict weapons to appropriate nations. Individual map per game mode, restrict player count per game mode / map. Better map design, all caps, thank you, Drake. Better logistics and team support. Remove the counter knife, which they did in Hardline. Better beta testing and more dev time. Fix the ping problems. And then, there's also what needs to say, but we can get to that. So, upgradable jet types. What I mean by that is sort of in the sense of War Thunder, when you think about it, is that you can start off at the bottom, and the bottom is not particularly bad per se. Well, I mean, in War Thunder it is, but the next one up will be better for you, or it might be better depending on your flight style or your combat style or whatever it might be. So maybe you'll start. I mean, I'm going through the Americans, but there's also this also applies to Russia, China, whatever other nations happen to be involved. So maybe you'll start with an F-15 or maybe F-14. Maybe go even farther back. You'll get your F-14, and then you get your F-15, then your F-16, then your F-18. That's where I would draw the line. but because this is a video game and higher numbers almost always means better, then you get your F-22 and then you get your magical pony VTOLing F-35. In real life, if you did not know this already, the F-22 and the F-35 on paper are God's hand, but in real life, they're not. You can look up this on your own time. I recommend watching The Runaway Fighter. That's a documentary based on Canada's involvement and the government involvement with the F-35 program, but you can also find other programs based on the F-35 and the F-22. Long story short, they both suck, and they shouldn't be used, and I'm so glad that they vetoed the F-22. But it's a video game. They're allowed to tweak the settings as they please, and admittedly, the F-22 does look pretty cool. Swappable vehicle types, that goes basically the same with the jet types, is say you start off with a LAV 25 or the LAV 1, but you use it, you can upgrade to the LAV 3 and maybe it has better stats, or maybe its abilities more suit you. Sort of like choosing between different weapons. Maybe one's better for this, one's better for that, one's better for this person, better for that person. Choosable ammo types such as super and subsonic. This is not like the Magnum ammo. This is actually like real super and subsonic. So if you have a suppressor and subsonic ammo, your gun will be... Oh, I bumped my mic. Your gun will be quiet, and you'll be able to shoot people and never be heard. But if you have a supersonic ammo, it will go farther, it will go faster, it'll drop less, all that good stuff. But if you want to, say, use a suppressor and hide your muzzle flash and stay off the map, but you're not so concerned about people in your immediate area hearing you, you can keep that good speed of the bullet and the bullet drop while not losing entirely by putting a suppressor on there. Customizable characters, this is sort of if they have time and they can do it reasonably. Just sort of think of like Halo, because I know Halo customization or Skyrim customization. It'd be nice to customize your character, be it in the campaign or in the multiplayer, just so that your character is more suited to you. But then again, you are a soldier, you are expected to act and dress and look like a soldier. Whatever. And swap carbines with PDWs. Everyone should be able to use PDWs, and only engineers should be able to use carbines, because carbines are in some ways like assault rifles, and there's more diversity if everyone gets to use a submachine gun. So that's why there's that. Restrict weapons to appropriate nations. So pretty much do it the way BF3 did, is that everyone had to start off, or Hardline as well, I think. Everyone has to start off with their nation's weapons, and then once they master these weapons, they can get the ones from other nations too, if they so choose. Individual map per game mode, so if I'm playing Conquest, I shouldn't be able to go on a map that's not good for Conquest. Same with restrict player count to map in game mode, so if a certain map in game mode are suited to 64 players, but not 24 per se, don't let people go below 32 or 48. But if a map is smaller and it's better suited to domination with 32 players, then yes, don't go over 32 unless you want to make it unranked. One thing me want to talk about, okay. Better map design, that speaks for itself. Better logistics and team support. Also, you could also say more incentive on team play.
Yes.
So making team play way more valuable to everyone and not just yourself. Removing counterknife, that's been done in Hardline, and I expect it to continue with the rest of the games, because counterknife is stupid and it's broken. In my opinion, that is. Better beta testing and more dev time, that pretty much speaks for itself. Give the developers more time, and maybe this also helps with marketing and people who, and this applies to me, or speaks to me as people who do the communications technology work. So maybe not the people who's marketing it, but the people who make the videos and the promos and the posters, the ads, all that. that gives them more time, and more time means potential better quality. Fix the ping bonus or fix the ping problem. That's pretty self-explanatory. So, Drake, do you want to go over any of this? Because I know I just went on for a little bit.
The individual map per game mode, that comes down to, when you look at it, you've got Metro. I know Metro's in Battlefield 4. They do use all of Metro in Battlefield 4, just like they did in Battlefield 3. But honestly, when it came down to it, where you had that, like, everybody knew Metro was for Conquest, Rush. Conquest was just kind of a clusterfuck. That's why everybody liked it, but it was a linear clusterfuck.
Yeah, I guess there's no better way to put it.
Yeah. In Rush, Metro was designed for Rush.
Easily.
You had Firestorm now I would say on the console, because I didn't really play it on the I haven't played it on the PC much. On the console, where you only have the 3 flags and you have your bases, it's a linear play style. I'm not saying dumb down the maps. I'm just saying do what works well.
Yeah. I've played Firestorm with the second assault and on BF3 on PC, and I can say from what I've played pretty much only Conquest. I say it works pretty well for Conquest at 64 players. However, you can, set it how you like dice.
It takes away the linearity.
Yeah.
But it's a large map, so it gives you that room.
It still works without the linearity, though.
Yeah.
It definitely works. I mean, there's a sort of sense of linearity to it, but it's also sort of linear with a little bit on the sides.
Yeah. I think, also the other one, this brings in the restrict player count per game mode or map. Rush, a 64 player on a lot of the maps on the PC are terrible.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there. It's, like I said, Metro is a linear clusterfuck. Rush with 64 players on most of the maps is just a straight clusterfuck.
Yeah, 48. And
there's
cap it at 48. No more.
I'm not saying take away what Battlefield does best with all the players. And I'm not saying... What I want to say is either design maps that will better accept the 64-man game mode in that tight space, or better implement the servers and control over how many players go into each map. Now, I'm not saying, there should be a middle ground where all the maps have the ability to use 32 or 48. So that way you can just set a server at 48 and just leave it go. And, that would be nice. But there are just some maps that they don't support 64 good. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it really ruins some of the gameplay. Like, it becomes a point where you're just standing there and you're going, I can't do anything.
Yeah, you're useless.
And it's not because of your skill. It's just because there's literally 32 people on the other team standing on a corner waiting for everybody else from your team to come around, and it's going to be slaughter.
Yeah, unless you commit basically an active... You kamikaze yourself. You turn the corner with a grenade launcher, shoot the floor, and get 4 of them. But you are going to die. There's no changing that fact. You're gonna die. This is super apparent in Metro, but other maps it happens too. If let's say there's 6-7 people, you can pull out your M320 and shoot the ground, get all of them, but at least 3 of them are gonna hit you in the head, and you're gonna go down. And it's only a matter of time before someone comes back and the whole process starts over again. But yeah.
Last thing I'll mention, fix the ping bonus. Now, mind you, this was rumored to be solved, or is supposed to be solved, with one of the big game updates. This is a couple months ago. I mean, we're late on this. But I'll mention that there's still, maybe it's a placebo effect. I don't know, I'm crazy. Maybe.
We're both crazy.
You guys can go ahead and comment. But it seems to me, I'm in Eastern United States. If I go and connect to a European server where I have 100 ping, 150 ping, I do better.
It's not fair to them. or me, because then it's overstating my skill. It's giving me the
Yeah.
idea like I'm amazing at this game, whereas I join
Yeah.
Eastern
Or
North America, or in my case, Canada, because our internet is garbage. I'm looking at you, Rogers and Bell. It's either horrible for me or horrible for everyone else. Is even within now, granted, this is not completely Dice's fault because Battlefield, there's only so much you can do with the scale of this game and the garbage factor, I will call it, of Canadian internet. But I'm sure you can get it down to a point where it's at least more tolerable, or at least to make sure you do everything in your power to get it as good as possible with the technology that we have at the time of release, I guess.
now I'm gonna go ahead and suffix that. Now, I'm not saying Europeans are terrible. I've connected to South American servers, and I'm not saying Americans are better at Battlefield, or everybody that connects to the Central America servers are better.
Everyone has
I'm just saying,
noobs, everyone has pros. That's just a fact.
Yeah, it just seems
Especially Korea.
that there's a placebo or some sort of effect there that gives me an advantage when I'm on a higher ping server.
Yeah, it's like a host bonus with consoles. Like I have, my neighbor plays a lot of Call of Duty, and she says, "Wow, skill is a very big factor." And she's MLG apparently. I don't even know, probably. And she's good. And she says, "Wow, skill is big. Weapon choice and attachments, map, game mode, player count. Everything is super big. It's super important, and it will impact it." There's the host bonus. If you are the host, you have the the edge. You've got your double-edged sword. You've got your whatever you want to call it. You have an advantage. Maybe maybe you've got less skill. Maybe you got poorer weapons. Maybe you're not so versed in a map, and that will sort of cancel out that host advantage. But let's say you and everyone else in that game are on an even playing ground, but you have the host advantage. You have a better opportunity to win. And that's sort of the same deal here on the PC side of things with Battlefield, is if I connect to a European server, I have the potential to do better. And it's not saying that I'm good and they're bad. Maybe it's a placebo effect. Maybe it's just the fact that it's the lag or the latency or the input delay, whatever you want to call it. It's just sort of a fact.
I mean, I'll go ahead and throw some numbers out there. On average, American to European servers for Battlefield, 150 ping. Usually American servers pings about anywhere between 10 and 50. So you're looking at a 100
I've never
millisecond
seen
difference.
a 10 ping. What the heck are you talking about? The lowest I've seen is 25. Jeez.
From me to Chicago is usually a 10.
Jeez. Well, I have my glorious
Yeah.
Canadian internet peasant race, so...
Yeah.
And I'm not even on Wi-Fi. People are like, stop gaming on Wi-Fi then. Like, no, I have an Ethernet cable that goes directly from my computer into my router. Router goes into the modem. Modem connects to the network. Network connects me to my games.
Yes.
We all know some of us know the technical. But even while I might have considerably good internet for a Canadian in my area, I'm not out in the country. I'm in the suburbs. I'm just south of Ottawa. Ottawa being the capital of the damn country, for God's sake.
Anyways.
It's just it sucks. But then again, I do have times I'll get only 30 ping. I think the worst ping I've ever stayed on and played is 90. I've had experiences. I think the worst ping I've ever seen is 1200 ping, because someone was Wi-Fi hotspotting their phone onto their LTE network onto their desktop. Never forget that.
Anyways, we'll finish with the numbers here. On average, that's about a 200 millisecond difference, because you got to think you're sending and receiving information.
No,
so,
I thought ping goes both ways. So if I have 90, then it's 90.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
45
to,
45 back. I don't know. Maybe
we got to think there's also send and accept.
Yeah, that's
pings
true.
That go back and forth.
It depends on what you're doing.
So at most you're gonna look at 200 milliseconds. The average human's about 250 to 300 millisecond response time. That doesn't seem like much, But the moment my screen flashes red, because I have client-side hit registration, if I can turn around and start shooting at that guy, he's going to... I'll have the advantage. It's almost like we have, rather than him having the drop on me, we're at a standstill.
Yeah.
We have seen each other at the same moment. It's not like you're going to take a noob and make him the best player in the world, but somebody, if they can leverage that to its full extent, I'm not saying I can, I'm not saying I know anybody who can, but if you can leverage that to its full extent, if it's there, you're going to get a big bonus.
Yeah. That's just, I mean, then again, no game is perfect, and while Call of Duty sacrifices, like, everything, because Call of Duty is sort of going into a goofy state, and then we're gonna have to sacrifice ping. I mean, there's no perfect. Maybe 10 years in the future, everyone will have perfect internet, or perfect enough to the point where the brain cannot detect a difference. But for now, it is what it is, and we're probably gonna have to make sacrifices. I'm looking on my battle log, and for some reason it says I have 159 skill, although last time I checked that was about half. Alright, battle log, get your stuff together. Alright, now the last little thing that we have is what needs to stay. Netcode, community assistance with updates, squad upgrades, and teamwork incentives / better teamwork incentives with better sort of Aru's previously mentioned. So Drake, if you want to take this one, it's all yours.
Basically what needs to stay, I understand we just went into a rant about how the ping might have might or might not have a placebo effect on how you play, but overall the quality of connection when it comes down to it, you don't really hear much about servers anymore having issues. You don't hear about server tick issues. They've done a good job. It's in a otherworldly state compared to what was launched in with Battlefield 4. Battlefield 3 made large advancements when it started. So they're working on it. And they're taking giant leaps, and it's great. But let's hope they don't go backwards when they come out with the next game.
Yeah. That ties into dev time, too. If they can polish it and basically update the game before it's released, if you will.
Alright. The other three things being community assistance with updates, CTE. CTE is a great thing. It's evolved into something that's almost quintessential with the Battlefield series. It's unique. You don't really have anything else like it.
Yeah. I mean, you can go on the forums and complain about a bug, but that's not the same as CTE. CTE is pretty awesome.
Yeah. There's, live bug testing, live update testing. That's where, yes, DICE might be, who knows, probably 200 people. You're not going to have that many people working on beta testing the game or beta testing an update. CTE allows all these people to jump in, have fun with something new, and at the same time, DICE gets to, say, balance new guns or, check updates. And it's a force factor when it comes to them getting out new stuff. It helps a lot.
Yeah.
Squad upgrades. I'm not going to say I really liked the ones that we had. Battlefield 4, they kind of changed the system. It's a little weird. I mean, it's acceptable. I like it because it pushes the incentive for working with your squad, but it's not really hard to get them.
Yeah.
They're a large bonus or a large factor. I really enjoyed, you can tell the difference to say, oh, now I've got all 4 of my upgrades. There's some more stuff that unlocks that lets you to do. Like, as I said earlier, if you can leverage it, it becomes a larger bonus. But without knowledge, it's kind of a mediocre. I mean, it'll help, but that's about it. What needs to stay, and this is something that just doesn't really need to be in here. It's part of the Battlefield series. Teamwork incentives. Some of them have been around, since the creation. The health packs, the ammo packs, they give you points. The revive, it also gives you points. That one has a kind of a meta effect, here's another guy that's on the battlefield right there. with you, but better ones being either more points or different effects on how it different ways it affects the battlefield. So I mean that's about it. So
yeah, maybe for 10, 15 seconds after someone's revived, they have a bit of a boost. Maybe they have 120% health. But it can't go back up to that, obviously. Like, maybe you start with 120% health for 10 seconds, and if they don't get shot or go below that within that 10 seconds, then it goes back down to 100. And then that way it can sort of, say, okay, well, if I revive this guy, right now, if you revive him, like, sweet, I get points, but he's probably going to die. But if I revive this guy, he can get up, assuming his reflexes are decent, and gun down the enemies, and maybe he will take a hit, maybe he'll even die, but he'll be better off to take them out than I will. Now, that's kind of unrealistic because we know that right after someone's revived in real life, they're in an extremely weak state, but this is a video game. Things happen in video games. It's how it works, right? Yeah, basically, to add to that, netcode, when we said netcode, we meant netcode as it is now, as of this moment, not as of when Battlefield 4 came out on that day, because it was garbage, and the beta netcode was absolute garbage as well. CTE, I definitely want to see that. Don't get me wrong about this, but I don't want to see it right off the bat. I want to see maybe wait a month, 2 months, or maybe after the first or second DLC is released, because then that way it gives people a lot of time to play Battlefield in its pure Battlefield state. Whereas when you go into CTE, it's not perfect, but it's different, and it's not quite Battlefield, and you're still playing it, but it's sort of not the same. So give some people to really get into the actual meat and bones, bread and butter of Battlefield, and then when bugs start to pop up and the DLCs are released and they're working on stuff, the workflow is initiated. Or, well, I mean, granted, it's already initiated when the game is released, but it would feel more natural to see CTE come out a month or two after the game, as opposed to, okay, CTE's out, but for those of you who have premium, you can also, or Battlefield's out, but also for those of you who have premium, you can play CTE and CTE then. There's nothing particularly wrong with that. It's just personally, myself, at least, and if any DICE employee were to see this, they would have to choose for themselves or bring it to their superiors, what have you. I'd rather see it released after the game is released, or a significant time after it was released. And yeah, better teamwork incentives and squad upgrades. With that, I like the squad upgrades, or the field upgrades as they're called. My only gripe is with the defensive perk is to move I'll call it a flak jacket, I don't know what it is, a Kevlar vest. Move it to the very back because it is arguably the most BS upgrade you can get. I mean, it makes sense. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense, but move it so that it's harder to get, so that once you've been on the battlefield for a certain amount of time and you've earned it, then once you've earned it, that earning it will help you keep yourself alive even longer, Then again, that is always just my opinion, and everyone is entitled to their own opinion, unless their opinion is wrong. That's the joke.
Then I reject it and substitute my own.
Failure is always an option. So yeah, I think that about wraps it up. I don't know about you, if you have anything else to interject.
Sounds good.
Sounds good? Do you want to do the outro?
Yeah, sure. Alright guys, that was a very rough cut discussion, but it was pretty good.
It's half the time of the other one.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Anyways, I'm Drake from DV Games. Be sure to check out our channel.
Sorry.
I know me and Viper haven't been posting much lately.
Sorry, Viper, we left you out of this one. But you were really quiet the last time, and it was making me mad.
Anyways, so, busyness is why we don't post very much, so
same.
Sorry about that, guys.
Yay, high school.
Anyways.
Don't end the recording. Also, I would like to say my name is Overlord Kilo. If you're a subscriber of DV Games, feel free to subscribe to me. My channel is youtube.com slash droid767 because I need to change that. But I go by Overlord Kilo now. And if any of my subscribers or friends or people I make watch this video, don't feel free to check out DV Games. Check out their channel; they got some pretty sweet stuff up there. Rate, comment, subscribe, share, add to playlists, like, comment, all that good stuff. Do it on this video and do it on theirs. Yeah, have a good
Stuffs.
have a good life. All right.
Not day, not night. Life.
Life. All right. I'm gonna stop right here. 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 I'm gonna stop.